The Commerce Department in the US, it has a framework called the VEU program, or the Validated End User Program. Now, this is something that allows the US government to track exports of certain high-tech technologies to places like China and India. Last month, that framework was amended to include data centers. Today, our reporting is looking at how the VEU framework could be used to restrict shipments of AI chips to places like the Middle East. So this is a region we know that's looking to invest very heavily into AI data centers in particular. They've got companies that are wanting to establish there or build up their data center presence, and they've also got very deep pockets to fund them. The Middle East, we know it's a place that has a growing relationship with China, which is what these sorts of caps were initially put in place for, was to restrict China's high-tech ambitions. So there is a concern that if you allow companies like Nvidia, AMD to export to third-party countries, those chips could still make their way to places, particularly to China.
Okay, and how do specifics like Bell export licenses play into any sort of negotiations here, perhaps as a point of leverage, I guess?
Yeah, they sort of become, I mean, taken literally, but they become a bargaining chip in the whole situation here, because US officials can look at them as a way to sort of achieve their diplomatic goals. So, for instance, they can put pressure on companies to reduce their ties or to sever ties with China in order to get these chips. So that is one way that they can be used. The US, of course, doesn't want to risk falling behind either in this sort of scenario, because, for instance, if it does export to places really outside of the US, they can grow the AI skills and capabilities of non-US companies, or countries rather, that can then be used to undermine intelligence operations in the States. It is, of course, very unclear how US chip makers like Nvidia in particular, but also AMD and Intel, how they would react to these sorts of restrictions, given we've already seen, for instance, Nvidia being restricted, but then managing to change or tweak its most advanced technology to still allow shipments to go into China of less sophisticated chips as well. But certainly, if the US is going to move forward with these sorts of caps, they will also could be difficult to enforce, and it certainly is going to be a big test of US diplomatic relationships.